PR Connections Radio presents.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Professionals Podcast. I am your host, Rachel West, and I am an empowerment coach. I have the belief that when we take the time to really get to know others, we find that we have a lot more in common than we do different. And so I like to bring guests on here who are professionals, and we get to know a little bit more about them, the personal side of them, and the struggles that we go through as professionals. Because when we look at media, we see the glitz and the glam and all the fun stuff. But as a professional, as entrepreneurs, that is not always the case. And I have a very special guest with us today. Her name is Jen Muczynski. And welcome to the show, Jen.
Ooh, thank you so much, Rachel. Thanks for having me. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great. Thanks.
Great job on the name. You got it.
Yay.
Muczynski.
Yes, thank you.
Not an easy one.
I know, but I got it. So let's dive right in and just give a quick 5-minute or so background about you and how you got to be a certified Optavia coach and registered dietitian.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, I've been in the health and wellness field for a very long time, over 20 years. I started out, I went to Michigan State for my undergrad, and I studied psychology because I'm really, really interested in human behavior and why we do what we do. But also, I've always been into food and nutrition, and what really kind of made me decide to get another degree in nutrition was the fact that, I was kind of raised with health in mind. I was raised in the 70s. So the 70s was all about like quick processed foods. It was when women really started to start working full time. And I was a latchkey kid, so wasn't really, would come home, go home on my own. It was just that time where everything was quick and convenient. So a lot of my friends were eating like the Ho-Hos and the Twinkies and all those processed foods. And my parents were kind of on the other spectrum and like, well, let's not do that. Let's go with the whole wheat bread. Like they were a little bit on that side of the spectrum. So I always knew I always had an interest in nutrition. So long story short, I got a degree in nutrition and went right into work in healthcare, and worked in nursing homes, hospitals, and was treating people that were already sick. So people that were suffering from diabetes, obesity, high cholesterol, illnesses that can be prevented early on or even reversed. So I was doing that for years, took a break and had kids, and went back to that clinical environment and found that things had really changed. I didn't feel like I was making much of an impact and really was missing something. I didn't feel fulfilled, like I was making a difference. So that's when I left that model, the medical model, and went into more of a health coaching role.
That's amazing. Thanks for sharing that. And can you dive a little bit deeper into that transition of coming from a background in the medical model to going to more like a holistic approach and dealing with your mindset and behaviors and just changing one habit at a time? Like, can you explain that kind of transition that you had to go from that mindset to this mindset?
Sure, I'd love to. So with the medical model and being a dietitian, I love being a dietitian. It was an excellent education, but we are really aligned with the medical model, especially when you go into clinical. Dietitians have such a huge role, and it's always changing. So, but when I was going through school, and the career that I chose to go into first was very much along the lines of, the doctor in the white coat. We wore white coats, when I was working with patients, and it was if there's a problem, I'm going to tell you how to fix it model versus let's work together. So, if that makes sense, it was more if somebody comes to me with an issue, with a problem, diabetes or high blood sugar, here's how you fix it, instead of more of like working together with the client, with the patient, and finding out what their motivating factors are, finding out what they would like to do. A lot of times people aren't ready for change. So when you try to force change on somebody, it doesn't really do any good at all. It frustrates both parties. Yeah.
And how does someone know to look for that alternative? Or if people are not educated on a different route and they just know the medical model, you go to the doctor, they give you a diagnosis, you take some medication, you do some exercise, you do whatever, drink some water. How can they know, like, where would they look to find out information?
Like other than a medical model?
Yeah, to
Yeah.
know
Yeah. Well, I
an
think that it
alternative.
just takes some trial and error. I mean, there are plenty of people out there that are fine with just doing what the doctor tells them or doing what the dietitian tells them. You know, they're ready for change. But I think the majority of people want something different, want to be more of a partner with their medical professional, not just uh, a person that almost like a soldier. I'm just going to do what you tell me.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So just trial and error. Yeah.
And as a Optavia coach, what kinds of things are you teaching your clients, like those one habits at a time? Like, what makes you different as the coach and dietitian?
Oh, I love this question. So at Optavia, we really put our clients in the driver's seat and we meet them where they're at. So everybody has different levels of health, right? Somebody could be in a real bad spot and just have many medical issues and just not ready to change everything at once. But if they're ready to change one thing, like going from drinking a whole pack of, or whole, 6-pack of Coke a day to drinking one a day, that's fine. We'll meet you where you're at. And we talk a lot about, healthy habits, one healthy habit at a time. And so we start out with a health assessment, a free health assessment, and we go over goals. What are our clients, our potential clients, ready to change? They don't have to be ready to change everything at once. Most of our clients come to us for weight loss, but find that it's really the mindset piece that takes the most work. But with our system and resources in available, we make it really easy in the beginning, and a lot of teachable moments come out of it.
Mm-hmm. You talk about those little mindset shifts that you build with your clients. Can you talk about your own mindset shifts that you have had over the last 5 years?
Oh, sure. Well, as far as coming from a medical model where it was, well, I want my patients to do this because it's the right thing to do, and a cardiac diet is 10% saturated fat and nothing less, and we have, as dietitians, have this word in the medical world has this word where a client is non-compliant, right? And that word has been completely wiped from my vocabulary because it puts your clients and your patients in a box. So that's one mindset shift, like going from, I'm going to partner with you and let's more motivational interviewing. Let's talk about what you're ready to change. And instead of just telling you what to do. So that's been a mindset shift. Also, going from where I had a job where I'm supposed to do, I have a list of patients to see, and I see them and then my day's over, to more of an entrepreneurial position like I'm in right now. My having my own business was a huge shift. Like what I'm doing right now, I would not be doing this 5-6 years ago because it just wasn't in my wheelhouse. I get really uncomfortable talking in front of people and nervous, but right now I feel so passionate about the program that I coach and about the transformations that I've seen, that I'm willing to step out of my comfort zone and do what it takes to help more people.
Mhm. That is where the magic happens when we step out of our comfort zone. If you, my mentor says, get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
As professionals, as entrepreneurs, we're always pulled in different directions. Like part of me wants to do this, part of me wants to do this, or I need to do this and I need to do that. Can you talk about when you got frustrated and being a mom of three and then having to go back into the clinical environment and having to be mom and work at the same time? Can you kind of talk about that and how you overcame that kind of tug of war that so many people go through?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd love to. I So when I went back to work, I worked part-time when my kids were little, and then I decided to really go back in when my kids were a little bit older in school and everything. And that's when I went back to the hospital. And when I was in that role, it was a struggle because I was missing a lot of things that I was able to attend, prior to finding that position. And unfortunately, it was a struggle. I wanted to maintain my status as a dietitian and stay in the world and be relevant, but I also wanted to be a part of my kids' lives, like not miss the school plays and not miss, there's a certain movie premiere that we had tickets to, and I had to make a decision. I'm like, I couldn't get the day off of work, so I had to miss that. And once I reached the realization that what I was what I was getting out of this job was not worth what I was missing, that's when I kind of took the leap of faith and said, you know what, I'll find something else. There's got to be something better out there. And that's when I searched for something on LinkedIn and found a few of my coaching partners with Optavia. And now it's still a balance, balancing this entrepreneur at this my position now and spending quality time with my kids.
Yeah, I think it's always a balance. It's always creating that harmony, but it allows more flexibility. It's more on your time. If you want to go to a school event, you're able to not plan. So it makes it a lot easier and flexible in your schedule in that sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And also I love the fact that they can see me grow also,
Mhm.
and see how I'm helping more and more people each day, each month, and just shows them that you don't have to settle for a job that you hate.
Yeah,
There's more out there.
yeah. Knowing what you know now, what would you say to Jen, who is kind of scared, kind of nervous to take a leap 5 years ago? What would you tell her that you know now?
Oh, wow. I would probably say stop trying to make everything so perfect and take more risks.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love that.
yeah.
So many people think that they have to be perfect, and I think it comes from like our upbringing and how we're raised, and we just want to be our best. We don't want to disappoint anybody. What I try to teach people is to shoot for excellence, because being perfect doesn't exist. And anyone who shoots for perfection is going to be disappointed every time, because there's always going to be something more for them to want to achieve and get to. And so they're never going to be satisfied. But when you shoot for excellence, when you are your best self today and tomorrow you do your best self, you're always going to achieve it and you're always going to feel satisfied and that happiness.
True. Yeah, absolutely. And you're definitely right. There's no perfect. We want uh, perfection, or progress over perfection is one of my favorite things to say for
Yeah.
sure. Hmm.
What are some things that you have going on that people could get involved with, or how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, great question, and I appreciate that. We offer many opportunities for people to learn about the program that I coach. Actually, tonight we're doing a special science and nutrition themed community meeting. We call it Better Together, and it's on a smaller scale. We have our clients come in and listen. It's kind of like a free health class once a week. We also offer nationwide Zooms where people can come in and hear about inspiring stories. I set up free health assessments, free chats, free health evaluations with anybody that would like to learn how they can work with me or would just like some tips. I'm happy to do that. And yeah, I have a Facebook account. I love any followers that want to follow me.
Is that just under your name, or is there?
Yeah, it's just Jen O. Muczynski. And that's how to find me on Facebook. Yep.
And is that the best way for them to learn more about when these classes are and trainings and
Just yeah, sure. Just shoot me a message. I can put my email up too. I can give my email address.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want to share that?
Yeah. So just share it out loud.
Yeah.
I brought had a screen that I could have put my up, but I didn't think about that. So it's Jen Molson 1 at hotmail.com. So it's JenMolson 1 at hotmail.com. And if you want to follow me on Facebook, it's Jen Olson, Olsson, Muczynski, Muczynski.
Perfect. Yay. And your name will be in the notes of this too, so they'll be able to get the spelling of your name.
Okay. Oh, perfect. Yeah, because it's a doozy.
Is there any last minute thing you want to give or comment that you want people to know about you or about the program or just nutrition and health in general?
Can you hear that knocking? Sounds like one of my kids is locked out. As far as for entrepreneurs out there, anybody trying to start their own business or running their own business, just have fun. And when things will happen that are out of your control all the time, and we can only control our reactions to them. Same thing with following a health journey. You can follow the system, follow the program. There are some things that might pop up, parties and events or things that just throw you off. And the way we react to them is really the secret sauce, like how we can get back on track, what we've learned from it. We don't want to beat ourselves up. We just hang in there, stay the course. And I like to use the phrase like, okay, what happened? What's missing? What did you want to have happen? And what's next? So just, what have you learned? Keep on learning and growing, and you'll always win.
Yes, I love that. Yes, everything in life is a lesson. And I love what you said about learning to respond to a situation instead of reacting. I love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a big piece of our program. We that we talk our clients through. We have a whole system, audio and book format that we really help our clients not only with the nutrition plan, but also the mindset piece behind it to make it a whole lifestyle change, not just a short-term diet.
Yeah, it's important.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yep.
Well, thanks so much for coming and joining us on the Professionals podcast today. I appreciate you and sharing your knowledge and experience with our listeners.
Thank you. I can give one more email address too that might be easier than the Muczynski.
Yeah, go for it.
So it's Jen Molson at jenrd.com. So it's JenMolson, Jen Molson, JenMolson at jenrd.com.
Perfect. Thank you. Well, I hope someone is out there listening and they want to connect and learn more about your program and your education seminars.
All right. Well, thank you, Rachel.
Thank you. Yes. Well, that completes our episode for today. Join us next month. We are here the first Wednesday of every month. That's August 2nd. Will be our next Professionals podcast with another special guest.